Salutations and hallucinations, O Steam Defenders. Back again for vaping with Uncle Jojo. Welcome back to the Vape Cave, where we're Second Amendment friendly and we deeply love us some vaping. Today I got my vape mail in. Can you tell what it is? And no, I don't have no idea in the world how you pronounce Cthulhu. I really don't. Right off the bat, I'm going to say I'm not really tickled pink with their packaging. Basically a little plastic box here with a tank in it flopping around. Kind of like mine, kind of like UD does. You know, you get to cut out foam and, you know, it's just real precious and pretty, well protected sort of thing. But here it is. We're going to peel this plastic bag out, and there it is. First, let's look at what we got in here. Of course, your obligatory screwdriver, a little Allen wrench. I do hate it when I see Allen wrenches. That generally means things are done with. I don't like Allen wrenches, just me. Of course, you got some more screws and some little rubber grommets. And looks like a couple of coils are also put in there for you. Let's get out and see what we got. There is no instruction manual at all. A little card, that's it. So, my collection of screwdrivers is getting impressive now. Alright, let's take this puppy apart right quick. Then it's going to go and get dropped into an isopropyl alcohol soak for about 4 hours. And we'll come back for the next shot. Good wide bore drip tip. Stainless steel. Or it looks like stainless steel. Hard to tell these days, people. Let's see. Bottom of it's basically just like a goblin. There's the bottom fill screw. Starting to look very much goblin-esque here. I'm going to screw this puppy here. Oop. A few odds and ends. The chimney was apparently screwed in a bit tighter at the top than the bottom. Good Lord. And of course the washer came out too, which is no biggie. Well, let's see here. All intents and purposes, it looks to be a one-piece chimney. No, it actually looks like, it is a two. My bad, my bad. Look at that. Okay, so we have a two-piece chimney. Not a huge amount of draw there, comparatively speaking. Got your little Kraken-looking thing. Looks like a Kraken, just to be honest, if you ever seen the Kraken oddball-type looking tank. And, of course, as I recall, this also comes loose here. In other words, this piece here comes out. Okay. So just basically have this little square nut that goes in there, and there's the top. Well, you got 4 fill holes where you can fill this puppy at the top, according to somebody anyway. Interesting. Then we'll get down here and look at the bottom. We'll see what else comes apart here. Yeah, okay. There's your side piece that comes out and opens up your deck. We have a standard 4-post design, which in my book is a good thing. I like 4-posts. So that allows you to work on, you can put one coil in, screw it down, lock it, get everything done, flip it around. Now you can work on the other side. The 2-post, you got to sit here and hold this one and get this one. You basically have to do both coils at the same time, screw them in, and you know, it's just much easier for me personally if I could lock one coil down and go to work on the other one. That's just me. Some people are going to disagree, and that's fine. If you're perfect, you'll agree with me. Little humor there. Very little, but a little. And it looks like we've got some good, decent airflow holes. There's your deck, as you can tell. Now, we got some fairly decent looking juice channels. Give me a few minutes after it comes out of soak. We're going to do this side by side. Take a look at the Goblin, throw the Goliath in there, and just for the heck of it, I'll grab my Billow 2 and maybe even dig my Billow 1 out of its box, and we'll take a look at them. Kind of see if there's anything really significant here, if this is just one more tank in a line of tanks. Hold tight. And we're back. And we got her down. She just came out of isopropyl alcohol soak, 91%. It's been a couple of hours in there soaking and a couple of more hours sitting on a drying rack. And we're going to go straight to the first con of the day for me. Some will like this. I personally do not. Now, as we all know, And I know some of you are going to agree. Sometimes I think this is what I'm in it for, just to get these little screwdrivers, because God knows I've only got 1,000,000 of them, and they're all Phillips heads. And we've got usually our precision screwdrivers laying around that we use to make coils with, and we've got our coil jigs, like the Coil Master here, which I'm quite fond of. So we've always got something which we got a little 2 millimeters laying around, basically different types of screwdrivers, all Phillips heads. We got a ton of these. Now here's the fun part. This thing on the other hand uses grub screws, which basically uses an Allen head wrench. Now the fun part of these is if this is the only one you happen to have and you lose it, you will either find it or go buy another one. Life's like that. I'm sorry. Next fun part, when you put these in here and you tighten, every once in a while they tend to get stuck. You got to wiggle them loose, and in the process loosen the screw up. So you got to go back and do it again. So all in all, a bit of an aggravation. And let's just be honest, it's easier to use, say, a small screwdriver to screw these things in and out than jack with one of these. But that's a minor thing. It's nothing major. It's not a deal killer. It's not a horrible, oh my God, but still, it is a con to me. The next, I'm going to just point this out, is this thing is unnecessarily complicated. There's way too many parts. There's just no need to have this many parts. There just isn't. Because if you look at this, here's your piece. This is your deck. This screws down over this piece here. I want to back it up until it catches. Then bloop, 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 screw it down. Why do we have this additional piece? There was no need. Everybody else, from Billow, Billow 2, Goblin, Goliath, almost all the tanks now do not bother with having this extra piece. This is just more complexity than is really needed. You don't need it. You can have done the whole thing with the tank sitting down here and mill the deck properly to accept the tank without having this in there. You see what I'm saying? There was just no need for it. And there you go. And it just gets even better when you get to the top and you get it to go to put together and you discover that you've got this. And basically what's going to happen here, folks, we're going to do a quick, I'm going to do this right quick, just kind of a quick throw together to show you what I'm talking about. This looks like something by Hillbilly Designs, I'm going to be honest with you. The tank sits here. Now this piece here with your little washer, it's going to sit right on top here. This has to be screwed in on that. Yeah. Why? God only knows. This should never made it into production with this. This screws in here. This screws into here. Then you finally get to put your drip tip in. So in order to fill this puppy, you pretty much have to take this piece off. In total honesty, they could have taken this piece here, threaded the hole here, the big hole, screwed it down, boom, you're done. No need for this at all. Or just incorporated this piece here into this, in other words, and you're done. No sense in having the two separate pieces. That's just redundant. Makes no sense. These two pieces here could have been, again, one piece unit that you unscrew the whole thing off the top of this piece here, which will in turn allow you to access your juice holes. Instead, we've got 4 freaking parts when in reality we only needed 2. I have no idea why. It makes no sense to me whatsoever. The fewer parts you have to manufacture, the cheaper overall your product will be. You don't have to spend a whole lot of money making all these excess parts. You just mill out 2 pieces versus 4. It's cheaper. In my book, last I checked. But hey, who knows? Apparently, they liked it. Now we're going to go look at the pros. Let's look at some pros. Look at the juice channels on this monster here. Can we see? Look how big that is. Man, those things are absolute monsters. We're going to take the Goblin. This is the UD Technology Goblin. We're going to set them side by side. Now head on from the top. Look at that. You put a red ring on this sucker here, and guess what? They would look like brothers. Damn near twins. Just from up there. Until you look at those juice channels, see how far they go in. It's not their width, it's their depth. I mean, good God, they went in. Woo! Here's the other fun part, of course, with this screwed on. Yeah. Starts to looks a lot like it, don't it? They really start to look a lot alike. But I mean, let's be honest, this is a basic design for a tank. This is how the decks are done on almost every tank, so they are going to tend to look a lot alike. If you'll take, here's the Billow. This is the original Billow, the Billow version 1. The deck is basically machined the same way. Again, they didn't need to do this extra piece here. Your tank sits right directly down. See how easy that is? Just makes no sense. And again, 4-post design, but with Phillips head versus these little Allen head grub screws. If you look at your chimneys, fairly close to the same internal diameter. Don't look. Now, this one is a thicker chimney, but what you're looking at is internal diameter. And of course, it's a bit shorter. A little bit, not much, but a little bit. Going to give you a little bit. I'm hoping I'm going to get better flavor. I have not fired it up yet. We're getting there. We're getting there. Let's do a side by side. Here's the Goliath, the big brother of the Goblin. And again, there is a lot of similarities. This is a basic tank design. 2-post versus 4, and I do prefer a 4-post design. It's just a lot easier. I can lock down one coil, flip it, and do the other one. With a 2-post, you got to fight with both coils at the same time. And again, if you look at how they did it here, here's the top deck where the airflow hole is. Then you've got a deck here where the cotton sits. There's your juice dent. I call it a dent. That's really a dent. Whereas here, you just have a ginormous juice channel. Folks, that's just enormous. That's even bigger than the Goliath. That's impressive. Now, this is the Billow 2. This is the secondary version. This is the new Billow. Go ahead and take it off my Sigeli here. Scary clown's going to get upset with me, but he'll be all right. Now, it's got a coil on it, of course, and it's still a little bit ganky. I just got through pulling the wicking off of it. Dried it up a little bit. I'm about to re-wick it here in just a second. And again, we start looking at juice channels. The Billow 2 has some fairly impressive juice channels, but against the Cthulhu, nope. Ain't no comparison again. The Cthulhu is just kicking some serious tail with these massive ginormous juice channels. All right, I'm not going to use the stock coils, mainly because I boogered one of them up. Yeah, leave it up to me. If there's any way to screw it up, I guarantee you that, yeah, Uncle JoJo can do it. So we're going... I went ahead and made a couple of 2mm. Took some 26 gauge. Those look to be 24 gauge, I'm guessing. They weighed in at 4. We're going to see what this one weighs in at. I should be, hopefully, firing these in roughly around 3. Unless I screwed the pooch, in which case we'll be doing an outtake. Now, what I am going to do is take this coil, as you can see how high up it is. I'm going to bring it down, right, slam it pretty much. And we'll take that 2mm screwdriver and go up under it like so. And that's it. That's my height. I generally go about 2mm. Put down just a wee bit, 1 to 1.5. I usually try to stick right along in there. We go to this side here. And that coil is completed. And again, right down on top of that deck there, so they're fairly even. And we're done. Grab this handy dandy coil meter here. ohm meter. And according to that, she's coming in at a nice little 3.37. I was really hoping to get lower than that, but I will. All right, I'm going to take a pause, grab my cotton up, and get it all wicked up. What I have here is my handy-dandy Shishido cotton, which needs to be trimmed a bit. I was in a hurry earlier and cut one, and it just... Oopsie. Comb it down. Peel that compressed layer off. It does not wick very well. Set it to the side. Feed that puppy right on through here. Now, what I want to look at when I'm going to wick this the first time the same way I wick all of mine, which is leave enough cotton to sit on top of the deck, like so, with a little bit down in the juice canal. I don't want to fill that canal up. It's kind of like clogging up a pipe with cotton. It'll just wick a little bit faster if the juice doesn't have to have a big war on its hands to get there. And I'm going to leave that right about there. Take this, snip. Now, as I said, this is how I wick all of mine. I'm not sure that it's going to work as well. If I can get this sucker here done to my satisfaction, I will have done something. As far as what we're going to wick her up with, one of my own favorite personal creations at Dr. Creamy's, do-it-yourself overdose, cheesecake and double marshmallow with a flavor shot. It's called Mallow Cake. This is a 60-40 juice, so it's going to be a little on the thin side. Give it a good dribble there. And I'm basically just going to kind of poke it up, leave a little bit hanging. So not as big as that juice channel is, I'm not terribly concerned if a little bit of cotton falls down in it, because, man, these things are freaking just fat. And we get the fun part, of course, of putting all this crap back together, which is always an interesting thing. And of course I cross-thread it. Now we're going to take it off my handy-dandy ohm meter, set it to the side, and we'll grab my Uncle Jojo here, and I'm going to give you all my free piece of advice for the night when building a tank. I tend to try to do this on every video. When you put your chimney, go ahead and put this chimney piece on, fire it a couple of times. Because if you get those coils too close to these, to your sidewalls here, they will arc short and it will burn the wire out. And for one thing, with a Sigela, you'll also get some of the most off-the-wall damn readings you've ever seen in your life. It'll jump ohm loads like crazy, or it'll pop the coil, or it'll read atomizer short, depending on just what exactly is going on. All right, she's working fine. We're going to dribble that to it. We're going to get this sapsucker assembled. As I said, is an unnecessarily complicated nightmare. I have no idea why they decided to do, in my book, this is what I call hillbilly engineering, because there's just no damn sense in doing this thing as complicated a manner as they did it in. It just, to me, doesn't make sense. I promise you it doesn't. Because I really don't see any benefit I guess once you, as long as you don't take your tank apart very often, it won't be that big of a deal, but there was just no need in my book to do this. Now we got her done there. It's time to pull her off of here right quick. And we're going to put the goblin ring on there. And yeah, I called it a goblin ring. Actually, they're not interchangeable. I've already tried. But you got to admit, that's exactly like the Goblin and the Goliath. It looks identical. But you pick a hole. And we're done. This is a 4.2 milliliter tank, as I recall. Let's see, and of course, again, you've got this piece here that screws in here. Again, I have no idea why they decided to have this piece screw into here. You got to try to get it flush, and trust me, as I've already found out, yes, it's a pain in the ass to get it back out again. Now, I've seen a lot of people complaining about burrs, stuff like that. Haven't really noticed any here. My particular tank, and I can virtually guarantee you it's going to be a hit and miss proposition. Some of these are going to be beautifully put together, and some of them not so much, and some of them are probably going to be crap. That's just quality control from the PRC. Now, as far as looks go, let's be honest, it looks enough like the Goblin to just not be remarkable. The Goliath and the Billow 2 are both outstanding looking tanks in my book. Therefore, I'm going to say the looks on it are fairly pedestrian, average, nothing special here at all. No effort was made to make this thing beautiful. Just going to be honest with you. It wasn't dressed up at all. And there's nothing wrong with that at all. That's not a con really so much as just a statement of fact. She's plain peasant stock, but doesn't mean she's not going to get the job done. And we pause again. And here we go again. Now it's time for final thoughts. And the final thoughts here, we're going to take a look again at the Cthulhu. And again, this is H.P. Lovecraft. He created a creature called Cthulhu. He said that human tongues cannot pronounce his name properly. So you pretty much gives you a license to call it whatever you want to. I'm going to call it a Cthulhu. It looks like a Cthulhu. Is that Cthulhu with you? We down. So you picking up what I'm putting down, we can get along just fine. Now, as we all know, my number 3 beast was the Goblin. The Cthulhu and the Goblin, head to head, you're looking at them. They look a lot alike, but I mean, it's a standard tank design, so you're going to see that there. Pretty much all the tanks look, within reason, pretty much alike. Round little cylinders with some glass on them. All in all, airflow is almost totally identical. As I said, these little holes at the bottom don't determine anything. It's the internal, your internal holes are going to actually be the outcome, because that's where your bottleneck is. You can put giant holes on the outside, but if you neck it down on the inside, well, that's what you got. You take a 6-inch pipe and you reduce it down to a 2-inch pipe, well, you got a 2-inch pipe, effectively speaking. The difference comes into play when you start thinking and taking into consideration the enormous juice canals that this thing has. That allows your cotton sitting down in there to be dipped into a big fat well of cotton. Okay, the whole end of that wick is pretty much just sitting in a lake of juice, and that helps keep your cotton saturated. That means when you hit the button and you fire this puppy, it's going to make more vapor because there's more juice there, and it fills quicker, and it keeps those coils saturated so that they're constantly just billowing out, making massive amounts of vapor. Vapor density over the Goblin, yeah, this thing, flavor and vapor density wise, blows the Goblin out of the water. It does. And I still love the Goblin. The Goblin's a fantastic tank. You're not going to go wrong if you grab one of these. You pick one up off, I believe Vape Northwest has them for about 30 bucks. They're a great little freaking tank. They're very forgiving. You can throw whatever kind of janky build you want to just about in here, and with no problem. I've got 3 of them. I've thrown some janky builds. Never had a single. It's never leaked on me. I've never once had one of them leak, and they make great flavor. Stick to around a 26 gauge 2mm build, and you're good to go. This thing will go, and it makes fantastic flavor. But it cannot keep up with a Cthulhu. Let's go up to my next beast. E-Siggity and Efro got together and made the Billow 2. Now, technologically speaking, the Billow 2 is superior to the Cthulhu. The reason being, you can actually take this tank off, remove that extra collar in there that I have no idea why they decided to put in there, unless they just like the Delta 2. But you can then work on your wicks and coils, put it without draining your tank, put it all back together, and keep right on vaping. Can't do that with this one. You're going to take it all the way apart, and there's like 57 million pieces of this thing. It's like a friggin' jigsaw puzzle made out of stainless steel. I have no idea why the hell they did it. They was just way more unnecessary. This is way more parts than it, just unnecessary. Another pro of the Billow is the ginormous capacity. This thing's like 5 milliliters, dogs. Can you understand how much juice that is? That's a serious amount of juice. Even I take a little while to burn the bottom out of this bad boy. Airflow, again, you're looking at basically the same internal diameters because you are limited to the form factor, which is basically the 22mm form factor to fit on top of your standard mods. So your internal air draw is down now to design. The ginormous juice canals in this thing, again, keep it super saturated. Vapor density is thicker than the Billow 2. And the flavor is, again, going to be better because that vapor density is just there. This is like hitting an RTA, man. This is like an RBA. This is like a dripper, man. Literally, folks, this is like a friggin' dripper with a tank stuck on top of it. It literally is in the thick, dense clouds that it's making. So we're going to compare it now to the Goliath. Again, the Goliath is a technological champ. It blows this thing out of the water. It really does. Much better thought out design, much better put together. I had a lot of people complaining about fitment on these. Mine came together, everything, no burrs, everything was fine. This is hit and miss with the PRC, their quality assurances and all that great. I've gotten one Goliath came in beautiful, the next one had a piece of metal on it, needed to be pulled off, broke off. It's just PRC, man. They're not really up on that inspection stuff. They just chunk it in the box, let it roll. Again, because of those ginormous juice canals. Now the Goliath compensates by having that low deck and that dent, that little juice dent as I call it. Helps keep your cotton saturated too. But it's just not as big. It doesn't allow as much juice to go through as what you're getting in this Cthulhu. Airflow is also a little bit better designed, so you're getting a little bit slightly better airflow. Not so much more. And actually, I'm going to be honest with you, they're almost identical there, but because of those juice canals, you're getting much. This thing makes incredibly dense flavor. It really does. It just makes incredibly dense flavor. The flavor is incredible. And all in all, I'm going to tell you the honest truth. If it were to come about as something I had to have a tank, I would grab this one. The Goliath is still technologically the best tank here, technologically speaking. But this one makes better flavor, and that's what it's all about when you're a flavor hound. Is it a pain in the butt to work with? Yeah. Folks up there with CthululuMOD, take my hint. Build this deck like the Goliath where you can pull that bottom deck out and pull it back in. break this, take this up here, take this from 4 pieces, incorporate that nut into the bottom piece, make this 2 piece, and this piece up, these 2 pieces, 1 piece. In other words, take from 4 down to 2, get rid of this extra collar down here, just build it into the deck and build it a little bit differently, and fix it where you can, the tank is all 1 piece like the Goliath. In other words, copy the Goliath, but keep the flavor. And that top fill, I love it. The top fill is pretty cool. Now I'm going to show y'all something. You could take the Goblin, that really isn't a winner with me or anything of incredible oneness. Watch, so you take this tank here, you screw the top of that tank off. It's not, because I'm keeping the glass pressed into the seal down here, it's sealed. I can fill that sucker up. Screw the top back on, keep right on going. You can do that with the Goliath. You can actually do that with the Billow too. So top fill doesn't impress me a whole heck of a lot, because they all are. If you know what you, if you once you practice it a couple of good times, they're all top fill without having to go through all that. Actually, I think what they may want to do is, hey, copy the Yilong's version of their Fogger V5. It's got a top fill that's pretty doggone good too. So there you go. As far as leakage, it doesn't appear to leak. It kind of surprised me. I was kind of worried about that. But hey. In the end, here's my new top dog, the Cthulhu. I'm going to put the Cthulhu on top. It's a very narrow victory because technologically, both of these are far superior. But I'm a flavor hound. Flavor is it. Convenience does mean a lot, which is why I'm tanking instead of dripping. But I'm still going to put the Cthulhu in the top position now. There you have it. All right, I'm out of here. Hope y'all are being blessed, and to the point where you don't even know what to do with yourselves. If you're not, talk to the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit. They'll hook you up. Trust me. They can and will do it. Now, y'all have a very blessed night. I hope that everything I said here, some of these, I know it's a little long, and I do apologize, but I wanted to bring a lot of tanks together, kind of give you a comparison to see what you're about to spend your money on, because some of these things might be important to you, or some won't. That's how it works. So you could look at it and go, you know what? Maybe I do or I don't. Kind of let you look at a bunch of them together, in other words, and figure out which one is best for you and what you want and what your needs and likes and dislikes are. If it did help, I am quite happy. I hope it did. I really do. I would appreciate it if you hit the like and subscribe button at the bottom. Stop by the Vape Cave on Facebook. The link's down there. Join up. What the heck? I think I got 20 people. I ain't trying to blow it up. Just trying to get a place for people to hang out, that sort of thing. Until that's all right. So I'm out of here. Peas and cornbread.